Question, public education has been systematically defunded for 3 decades. The board makes many decisions regarding where money is earmarked and being spent. How will you ensure that more money is going towards the classrooms and students versus administrative positions?
So I'm glad you brought this up, because part of really and truthfully institutionally addressing the opportunity gap in the budget as a board member is finding out and making sure that the priorities for educating our students and reducing the opportunity gap and increasing equity is making sure that it's budgeted. There are going to be different ideas, different programs, and if there aren't specific programs, you create a generalized type of program. More diverse materials in the classroom for teachers to use. Finding ways to begin other programs that can help us close the opportunity gap, and you set aside hard budget money, dedicated money, not just for this year, but for 5 years, 10 years, where people see that the district has really committed, and they've committed with their regular budget, not external funding, not extra funding. This is dedicated money that we're going to commit every year. And as a board member and as a district, the budget reflects the priorities of the school.
Yeah.
And what I've learned from all my experience being an undergraduate, student activist, going on, working in the community, is that if a program does not have dedicated budget funds year after year, it will fail. We create programs and we don't fund them when we want that program to fail. And part of what the district needs to do, and what the board needs to do specifically, is to say, we've outlined that we want to improve equity, reduce the opportunity gap, so what's the money we're budgeting every year towards this?
Yeah.
Because if it's not in there, there's no way for us to support it.
Yeah.
And teachers realize that, principals realize that. We're blessed to have a lot of community activists in Minneapolis, especially coming now out of the George Floyd movement.
Yeah, yeah.
And they know these things. And so by showing them that we will give this money year after year and dedicate it to closing the opportunity gap, it says a lot. And what it does is it prevents that money from being used for something else. It prevents that money from being used to hire an administrative position.
Yeah.
If it's really determined that we need more people in the school to help support and engage students, that's where we invest, because we know students who are engaged are going to stay in school, do better in school, and continue on to the next year. And that's what we really need. We need to increase our student retention of BIPOC students tremendously. We need to increase the retention from year to year, and we need to make sure they get to graduation. And by setting aside hard budget money for that, meeting regularly with all the stakeholders and community organizations and activists and neighborhoods, we begin to build an institution that values community input, that knows how to engage people, and wants people to come to our schools, want their students and kids to come to our schools, and they want to stay there until they graduate. And we can really make a huge difference in closing the opportunity gap by doing those things.